I would like to keep my comments. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Or is that your line?
Is it highlighted?
No.
Oh,
See, Eric mapped out the whole thing for us to take. He didn't think we knew how to speak off the cuff. So
which we do every morning. We win it every morning.
We'll introduce ourselves later because that comes on page 3. Anyway, thanks for coming. We'll get this program going. As a matter of fact, it's a great time to celebrate some young people.
Absolutely, and a huge response to this event, the 4 under 40, so much so that the event sold out tonight. Not sure where everybody is, but they should be here.
Well, that's kind of like that Foreigner song, right? Jukebox Hero.
What are you talking about?
You couldn't get a ticket. It was a sold out show. Does anybody get that? All right, there's a rocker.
Oh my God, as usual.
Yes.
Well, due to the hall capacity limits due to COVID, scouts leading our flag ceremony graciously agreed to pre-record the flag ceremony to allow more of the general public to participate. So, without further ado, we will turn it over to the girls and boys of Pack 69, Troop 69, and Troop 1069.
Keep your eyes on the screen.
I swear it was working before. Sorry, that's sorry. My son's now 6 months old. I haven't updated mine.
Well, see, we're not the only people that have technical. Here you go.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible.
On behalf of Pack 69, Troop 69, Number 69, Cedar, congratulations to all the honorees.
All right. I was going to say give them some love, but let's give them some love anyway, even though they're free.
Yes, thank you to Troop 69 and 1069, Pack 69 Sherburne for conducting opening flag ceremony. They have 45 youth involved in scouting, including 8 girls and 37 boys. I think that was 4 lines.
It was.
Okay, go.
I'm gonna chart. Anyway, welcome to the first 4 under 40 event put on by the Twin Valley Council, Boy Scouts of America. And I guess without further ado, we just introduce ourselves. We're JK and Kim in the morning on 106.5 Lakes FM. And we're here to help usher people through and keep you somewhat amused, I guess.
Well, we're honored and frankly, we're surprised because we're basically homebodies and we don't get out much. So we have done a couple of events together though, over the years. We haven't done a morning show, radio show together for very long. We're on 5 years.
Yes.
And over the years, we haven't had too many opportunities like this. So I do remember one, we hosted an auction once and I was very scared to be on a stage and I had stage fright and I was deer in the headlights.
Well, there was like hundreds of people.
Hundreds of people. It was a little nerve-wracking. The second time was the newlywed game over in Sherburne.
Well, it was kind of like the old wedded.
Oh, it was the almost.
Almost, yeah. It was a bunch of old people that have been married
Or
for a
used
long
to be a
time.
newlywed game. So this is our 3rd opportunity. So thank you to the Scouts of America.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And let's see. That emceeing thing. Yeah. I know this is the first year for it. There it is. Weren't we supposed to have a dressing room?
You know what? That's Andy's problem.
Oh, okay. And
Where's Andy?
just green and blue M&Ms next year if you have us come up. That's fine. It's just it's his first year
He's
thing.
joking.
It's no.
He's joking. I would
And,
never let him do that.
and the other thing I was so interested when you're emailing, we were talking back and forth. You said there was going to be heavy drinking and appetizers. I just saw here it was heavy appetizers and drinking, so I got that confused. I
He
guess,
did get
but
that confused, but that's okay. He's all right.
I'll do fine with one drink ticket. That's
Oh my
fine.
goodness. Well, you know, back in the day, you probably did overdo it sometimes. We know when you're under 40. And
Oh,
we're
yeah.
here talking about people that are under 40. And we actually were talking about that on the radio the other day. If you could be one age for the rest of your life, what would it be? And most people that we talked to were under 40. They wanted to be under 40 for the rest of their lives, right?
I wanted to be pre-kids, so like Megan, I know these
2 months ago.
yeah.
Whatever age you were then,
Right, that's where we
what
want
you
to
probably wanted. All right.
So tonight we're honoring a bunch of young whippersnappers that make the rest of us feel very, very old. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
for that. Anyway, it's a cool thing. I don't think at the age of 40 I would have been, or under 40 I would have thinking I was going to get an award of any type. But
No,
it's neat that our community is recognizing 4 of our young community leaders. So, little housekeeping.
We want to thank you, of course, for being here to recognize these 4 community leaders and a lot of sponsors too.
Right, and housekeeping, if you're asked to bring vacuums, see Eric after, because he'll have you start cleaning up, doing a little housekeeping later after you didn't bring it back.
Oh my
Oh, boy,
goodness.
we're in trouble.
A big shout out. We were talking about drinking. Thank you, Fairmont Ford,
Yes.
for the first drink ticket for everybody tonight, first round of drinks. Thank you so much for that. Thank you as well to our ad sponsors, Valero Renewables, Lakes FM, KSUM 101.5 Emoji, and In the Beginning Photography and Minutemen Press, who did the lovely programs. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And also thanks to the table host, Beamer Company, Mark Hugan, and Steve Hawkins.
Yes.
Thanks so much, guys.
And thank you to the Fairmont Knights of Columbus for hosting us for the great facility.
Good, give some love for that. Thank you to Area Media, who helped provide coverage of the event, including the Fairmont Photo Press, the Truman Tribune, Martin County Star.
And thank you to the Fairmont Sentinel for publishing their write-ups and all the honorees. That was really fun to do and see everybody's pictures and their stories, and fun to have them on the radio too. That was great.
Yeah. So if we can do a shameless plug for ourselves, great job.
Good
Kim.
job.
Thank
You
you.
did the
Yeah.
interviews. It was awesome. I just kind of sat back and listened to it, so it's great.
Lakes FM, KSUM, AM and FM now, and 101.5 Emoji. What did we do? Oh, we honored them on the air and
Yes, we did.
for the procurement of
Yes,
the
That's
awards
a fancy word.
for our honorees tonight.
Speaking of awards, have you seen these guys yet behind
They're
us?
beautiful.
I mean, they're nothing to shake a stick at. I mean, they're beautiful. They're a piece of work and art. Fairmont Awards created those beautiful awards that each honoree will receive tonight. And of course, COVID presented some challenges for us preparing for it. We wondered if we would even get it pulled off. Eric, I know when he first approached us, because I don't know if we're going to have it or not. So hopefully we're able to, I'm glad we were able to get this put together for the honorees and recognize these folks tonight.
Absolutely, and thank you for coming. You guys have been really good with the masks, and the food's been awesome, and everybody that's here, we truly appreciate it. So I guess now we're gonna start celebrating these great people.
Absolutely. And the first person we're going to bring up here tonight is Bob Chernecki. He is the Executive Director of Options Pregnancy Center in Fairmont. Bob, come on up.
Bob.
You have to sanitize.
Okay, good evening. My name is Bob Chernecki, and it's my privilege tonight to introduce our first honoree of the evening, Mr. Benjamin Landsteiner. Ben's been a part of the Fairmont community for many years. And if I take the mask off, you can probably hear me better, and I can hear myself better. All right. You know, Ben was born here in Fairmont, went to school here, graduating from Fairmont High School in 2003. After college at Iowa Lakes Community College, he came back to Fairmont and is now part of the business community and raising his family here. He and his brother John own and operate JL Computers here in Fairmont. Ben and his wife Lindsay, and unfortunately Lindsay's not here this evening, but they have 8 children, and I have to use my notes here. Rebecca, Samuel, Lillian, Jeremiah, Gabriella, Amelia, and now the twins Madeline and Mariah. Did I get it? Yeah, that's over to them. I got it. Okay. Kids range in age from 8.5 months up to 12 years, almost 13. And I've met most of the kids, and they're just a great bunch of kids, which I guess I can assume is a result of some great parenting. So good job, Ben and Lindsay. Ben's an active participant in several organizations in and around Fairmont. Member of the Fairmont Knights of Columbus, serves on the Martin County Veteran Memorial Committee. He's on the PR committee for the Governor's Pheasant Opener, on the marketing committee for the Fairmont Opera House. I probably got to know Ben best by his involvement through Options Pregnancy Center. As a child, his parents encouraged this involvement with our annual Walk for Life fundraiser. And now we fast forward a few years and he ended up joining our board of directors. And even now he serves as the chairman of the board. His strong Christian faith and his leadership skills helped bring us through the pandemic, strengthening our organization and positioning us for growth in the future. Landsteiner family has been part of the fabric of Martin County for several generations. Ben is continuing that legacy through his hard work and volunteerism, his care for our community, and his all-around love for those around him. There's several things about Ben maybe you don't know, and we kind of have to share a few of those things tonight. For instance, I found out he's related to Carl Landsteiner, 1930 Nobel Prize winner. Carl distinguished the main blood groups and helped identify the rhesus factor, which he is recognized as the father of transfusion medicine. He also discovered an isolated polio virus, which served as the basis for the fight against polio. And there's even a crater on the moon named after Carl. But some other things that are worth knowing about. There's a story about Ben at age 10, shooting his grandfather in the leg with a .22 caliber pistol. Now, Ben said it was an accident, and that's his story. He's sticking to it. And then, of course, there's his high school years, where Ben was a member of a punk rock band. Do we have pictures of that? No.
We do. I'm holding them right here. So.
Okay. Anyway, they're great. You need to see them. You know, there's some just great pictures of Ben and the band. My understanding is they're still waiting for their big break, so maybe someday. When he was asked about what inspires him, Ben says, "I'm inspired by the reality that small choices in our everyday lives add up to a big difference in the world around me. When I look up at the stars at night and I try to imagine the distance between myself and one of the stars above me, it helps me to grasp how big this universe is and how small my part in it. And yet, when I speak a kind word, open a door for someone, or just simply smile, I can't help shape a person's entire day." Please join me in celebrating an inspiring leader, Benjamin Landsteiner. I think that, all right. All right.
Thank you, Bob. It's an honor to be here tonight with you guys. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate everyone gathering here to celebrate this award for myself and for 3 other amazing leaders in our community. I guess when Eric first talked to me and told me that I had been selected for this award, and he said that this was an award for community leaders. You know, I guess I thought to myself, Eric, you know, I'm not qualified. that's kind of a tall order. But I remember, for my time at the chamber, leaders come in a lot of different ways, and I think we can all be leaders in our own way. My parents taught me a lot of things growing up, and one of the things that they always stressed was to be honorable. We never really went through how to be honored. And so that's something that's always been a little hard for me. Even accepting a compliment can be a bit tricky to do so with grace and humility. But my brother, my business partner, one of my best friends, we were talking about this one day, and he gave me some pretty good advice. I said, Ben, sometimes you just need to smile and say thank you. And so I'm going to do that today, more than just a thank you. I'd like to go through a few people and organizations that I work. I will try to keep it brief, not necessarily. I'm going to start at the beginning with my mom and dad, who were able to be here with me tonight, and appreciate everything that you guys have done for me, for giving me a foundation on my moral and ethical standards, and leading me and all that stuff. I learned a lot of things. Some of the things that I would note for my dad was the value of hard work, and that success isn't measured in just dollars. For my mom, she always told me, bloom where you're planted, and give until you've got nothing left to give, and then give a little more, even if it hurts, and sometimes it hurts. Both of them have always been supportive of me and believed in me throughout my life, for which I am very grateful. I have 7 brothers and sisters who have taught me a number of things over the years. How to do a righteous headlock has been one of them. I really, the value of relationships, I would say, growing up in a household with a lot of brothers and sisters, you learn that that relationships are really important. And I learned how to defend myself, I learned how to defend my sister. But really, and I'm blessed to have a really strong relationship with all my brothers and sisters in the state. I'm very grateful. Before I forget, the number one, I have to thank our Lord for this life, for all the blessings that He's given me, and for His plans for me. I only hope that I can be cooperative and continue to do my best to align my will with His. I know that whatever He has planned for me is better than anything I can plan for myself. So I would like to also thank a number of teachers that I had growing up, high school and college, both, who taught me to believe in myself, and math and other stuff. Some other good things that I picked up along the way, but I definitely was able to develop a level of confidence and appreciation for the gifts that God has given me, and with that realization that they're there to be used, and that I can use those to contribute to those around me. So I also have with me here tonight, which I was a little surprised to have a couple of members of good old Troop 60. I was Boy Scout in the rank of Life Scout. We had some great leadership and some great scouts in our troop. But I really had some great role models there, and I learned a lot of things that I've carried with me from my life. A lot of the values that my parents taught me were very much echoed in the scouts, and I'm very grateful for that example and for the opportunities that gave me and all the lessons that I learned. Employers, designing signs, I learned to own my problems and the problems of the team, I guess, and to really take ownership of that and to dive in and to work to solve the problems. And I appreciate that opportunity. While I was at the chamber, I learned the value of teamwork, and I learned a lot about this community that I wasn't aware of before. Having lived here my whole life, a lot of great things that this community has going for it, that we should all be proud of. I also had the opportunity to work on a lot of those things, really be a part of that team to help build up the business community, to increase visitors, to attract new residents, and that was a really good opportunity to learn even more about leadership and about teamwork, and to develop a greater sense of pride. My current employment, self-employment, my brother John is my business partner, and I'm blessed to have the opportunity there to prioritize people, over the work, over the money, over the bottom line, that we're able to. We're both on the same page that that's what we're here for as a service, that the people are met. We try to keep our customer service old-fashioned and our technology much newer fashioned. So some of the people, I'm not going to be able to name everybody, but we have an amazing board at Options Pregnancy Center that I'm involved with. It's just been a great experience, and I appreciate working with every one of them. The work that we do through Options and 12 Baskets and all related work that we're able to help the community, the women in the community, is just amazing, and it's an honor to be a part of that. The Martin County Veterans Memorial, I've been working with them for about 4.5 years. The Cobra dedication and the memorial park itself, to be able to help build that kind of a tribute to the men and women of our armed forces, and to recognize the sacrifice that they gave, is just it's also a great honor, and I'm privileged to be able to help out with that. I wanted to save this for last, mostly just because, for emphasis, I guess. But my family, my own family, my wife and my children. Unfortunately, my wife couldn't be here with us tonight. She's up with my son in St. Mary's in Rochester, and so hopefully is able to tune in here digitally and take part. But I just wanted to thank her and everything that she is to me and to our family. She's my best friend, the mother of my children. She's my biggest supporter, and it really doesn't feel right to be accepting this award without her here, because she's a big part of everything I do. So if you're watching, Lindsay, you, and I love you. And to my kids, and I will go ahead and name them by name as well. No problem. But Rebecca, Samuel, Lillian, Jeremiah, Gabriella, Amelia, Madeline, Mariah, I'm proud of every single one of you, and I'm honored to be a father. And I hope that I can continue to be a man that you can look up to, and to build a community that you can be proud to call home. And so with that, I want to thank every one of you again. I'm going to have to try and find a place for this one break in my house. But thank you for being here. Thank you for this honor and for just, I guess, for the recognition and for joining me today.
That's up a little high. Well, congratulations again to Ben. Congratulations. Thanks for making the other three honorees feel like, oh my God, how do we follow that? But, with such a large family and circle of friends, I'm sure that you wanted to take as much time as possible to make sure that everybody was thanked, acknowledged for your award. And yeah, you're gonna have to put that, for that many kids, that little glass award's gonna have to go someplace really, really protected. Yeah. Let's hear it for Ben Landsteiner. Now we'd like to enter into the phase 2 of our awards tonight by welcoming up Matt Lang. I hope I'm saying that right. Okay, Matt is an emergency medical technician with Mayo Clinic Ambulance, and he is going to introduce our next honoree.
Absolutely. Have it. Good evening, guests and honorees. My name is Matt Lang, and I'm a EMT with Mayo Clinic Ambulance. And I was asked by Eric this evening to introduce a good friend, fellow responder, and a deserving recipient of the honor here tonight, Ms. Kalina Week. Like all honorees here this evening, Kalina is making an impact as a young leader in our communities. Kalina is a graduate of Apple Valley High School in 2002. She went on to study at McNally Smith College of Music at Minnesota State University in Mankato, where she graduated in 2011. I've had the privilege of serving on the Truman Fire Department and Truman Ambulance with Kalina. I've had the opportunity to watch her grow into a great firefighter and an emergency responder. She gives countless hours to both departments, volunteering time, resources for the betterment of our communities. Kalina is one of the few who have made a career out of public service, not only on a volunteer level, but in her own full-time employment. She is employed by the Brown County Sheriff's Office as a correctionals officer. She plays a vital role in keeping our communities safe. A few years back, Kalina had an idea. She came to the fire department with thoughts of starting a local chapter of the Fire Explorers Youth Program. We took the idea and we ran with it. Kalina has served as an advisor for us for the last 2 years with Explorer Post, and without her forethought and participation, that program for the youth wouldn't have happened. The program established through the Boy Scouts of America gives the youth a firsthand look at emergency services and the aspect of rural fire and EMS volunteer work. Kalina is deeply passionate about her experiences as a responder, and she often shares those with the youth. Her exuberance towards the program is warranted, as she is one of 2 females that have ever served the city of Truman on the fire department. Even though she's only called Martin County home for a few short years, she is already having a positive impact in our community. She's involved in the communities both professionally and personally. As a mother to 2 busy children, Bryn, age 8, and Zach, age 7, she is involved in numerous community activities through St. Paul's Lutheran School, the Girl Scouts, and St. John's Lutheran Church, where they attend. When asked about what inspires her, and I quote, Kalina says, "My family inspires me. My kids teach me to not sweat the small stuff in life and to live each day one moment at a time. My husband teaches me that at the end of the day, we always have each other to lean on. My family shows me true meaning of being a family unit. And with their continued love and support, it makes me always strive to do better and give me the motivation to continue to support my community." Kalina has always been the first to offer suggestions or help come up with a solution. She's the first to selflessly volunteer when others hesitate, and works tirelessly until the end goal has been reached. Our communities are truly better with people such as Kalina looking out for them. It's no secret, and it's obvious to all who know Kalina, that she's a hardworking and dedicated first responder that has a great love and passion to serve the people of our community. She carries the pride, respect, and the solemn brotherhood for EMS and fire service close to her heart and sets the bar high for others and pushes us all to do a little bit. If you would please join me in congratulating Miss Kalina Weems.
Thank you, Matt. I'm gonna try to keep mine very brief because I'm not a public speaker. So, and I have things, I have my speech wrote out because I can't think off the top of my head. First, I like to say that I am truly honored to be recognized as a leader in the community. It means a lot. I don't think of myself as the leader. I just think of myself as living every day, continuously doing what I do. I want to thank God for giving me the opportunities and the ability to do the things that I do and have put me into a community that fosters so much pride. I would like to thank my mom, Charlotte, my dad, Mike, my two sisters, Amber and Trisha, for always being there for me and encouraging me and believing in me to do the things that I do in life, and for teaching me to give back to the community. To my husband and my two beautiful children, Bert and Zach, thank you for supporting me and being there and inspiring me. I do what I do for you guys. I need to send a shout out to my friend Crystal. She's my best friend, but she's also my mentor. She shows me how to be the best I can be in everything that I do. Thank you to the Truman Fire and Ambulance departments for giving me the opportunity to help our community. You guys have become family. Got to give a shout out to the Fire Explorers, post 1905, they're rock stars. Thank you to the people who organized this event. This is such a great opportunity for the younger people in the community, and I hope it continues. And then to the wonderful person who nominated me, I don't know who you are, but thank you. Your words mean so much to me, to know that you and others believe in me and think of me as a leader in our community. You all.
Congratulations again to Kalina. I don't know if anybody else is getting kind of weepy on these speeches, but I'm fighting tears on you guys a little bit. So quite emotional, and I just am getting really moved by you guys and getting goosebumps by the stories and your experiences and your humbleness that you're both so far that I've heard. And I know it's gonna continue. But thank you both so far. You guys are amazing. And I always think about people like you who are the helpers. You know, we always hear about look for the helpers, and anytime that there's a need, and I can see that these people that we've been honored here are the helpers of our community, and that's awesome. It's awesome. Next up, we wanted to bring up Julie Fleming. Julie Fleming is the operations manager at the Fairmont Opera House, and she's got her next honoree. We love COVID. We love COVID.
Well, good evening. As was mentioned, my name is Julie Fleming, and I have the honor of introducing the third honoree this evening, Mr. Blake Potoff. Blake and I first met at the Fairmont Opera House. We were in a summer musical. He was King Arthur, and I was Guinevere. So we go back a ways. Well, Blake is a lifelong member of Martin County. He grew up here and attended high school at Martin County West. Graduated in 2010, and then he attended Luther College in Decorah, Iowa, where he met his wife, Megan, here with us, as well as their daughter, Melody, who is 2 months old. Blake is the executive director of Fairmont Opera House, and has been there for 4 years, since December of 2016, and has been instrumental in its continued success in our community. He's also very committed to many other organizations throughout our community, our state, throughout the arts administration of really the whole United States. So he serves as the chair of the Minnesota Presenters Network and on several boards as well, including the Chamber of Commerce and the Downtown Revitalization Committee and the Visit Fairmont Board and the Focus on Fairmont Committee of the 1590 Board. So he's busy, and I get to do his schedule sometimes. So Blake is just someone that if you met him, you have had a sense of his charisma that comes. He is visionary. He is someone who dreams big. He encourages everyone who interacts with him to also dream big. He is wonderful at identifying the strengths in other people and encouraging them to grow those strengths. He is the first to admit his weaknesses, which creates such an open atmosphere and a humble leadership that is just so unique. And I don't think it's any exaggeration to say that if you live in Fairmont or Martin County, your life will or has been impacted by Blake in some way. He is truly a very special man, and I am so glad to be able to be here with him tonight. Just a little fun fact. Blake, like, I don't know if you want me to say this or not. He can play the piano, guitar, trombone, saxophone, trumpet, baritone, tuba, and organ. And he has a guitar hanging behind his desk at work, and I love it whenever he takes that out and hits the stage sometime when it's completely empty at the Opera House. But anyway, Blake's dedication to the community is clearly seen just throughout all that he does, throughout all that he is. And we are just so thankful to have him here. So please join me in presenting this award to Mr. Blake.
I suppose I should do this too. You know, I'm a foot taller than everybody else. Well, Ben and Kalina said they're going to keep it short, and if anybody knows me, I'm not. I'll do my best. Thank you, Julie. I really appreciate that. I sit 3 feet from Julie in our office, and I was bugging her what she was going to say, and she didn't tell me. Makes sense. I cried then too. Means a lot. Thank you. Where do I start? First, I want to start and echo. Well, I think Ben stole my speech. I didn't write it down, but somehow he said everything I was going to say. And I had a backup, and Kalina stole it. So I'll just have to make it up. I'm so thankful for my faith. In my bio, it says I'm a pastor in all of my free time. I do that as well. And this last week, I did this sermon on this, and I'll touch on that a little bit before I'm done speaking. And I really feel like each of us has a purpose in this life, and I hope someday I find mine. Because I'm doing my job. I'm doing what I think is fun. I'm doing what I love, working with the people I love and the community I love. So I want to thank Jane Ryman. She couldn't be here tonight. She's on our board director. She's a treasurer of our board, and she's a dear friend of mine. I've known her for a long time. I've done Vermont Area Community Theater for 15 years, and she was one of the first people I met. She terrified me. She was backstage, and she was Steve knows, and she was she helps backstage as a stage manager. She wears all black, and she'll jump out of the curtains and yell at you if you're too loud. And she was the one who nominated me, and she couldn't be here this evening. Her sister's in poor health, and I've been thinking a lot about her and what she's meant to me, and what other members of our board and our committees of the Fairmont Opera House and everybody who's meant so much to me. And some of you are here tonight. I've done probably a poor job of saying thank you along the way. I do as best I can when I remember. But really, I'm so fortunate to be in the community that I grew up in and the place that I love, with the people that I love. I live on my grandparents' farm where I grew up, and I'm 15 miles away from my parents, and my brothers are still around, and it's all these things that I always wanted, but I didn't know how I was going to get. And here we are. It just happens that way. It all comes together better than I ever thought it was going to. The Opera House that's the dream job that I didn't know was a dream until I had the job. I went to school to be a music teacher. That didn't work out. So I decided I would do something else, and I got a degree in opera performance. What am I going to do with that? I don't know. It has very little bearing on my work at the Opera House. I don't sing opera in my desk chair very often. But I got to move back here, and I knew I wanted to be involved. And because I grew up in 4-H and FFA and all these different activities that I was always involved with the community, and I knew somehow, some way I wanted to give back. And I got that opportunity by answering a Facebook message. A former board member of the Opera House sent me a message one night and said, "Blake, you know the Opera House. You're a big, strong guy. We got a bunch of heavy stuff to lift in. Want to help?" Sure. I got hired as stage manager that night in January of 2016. And I got to know Jonas Nissen, who is no longer at the Opera House. He's an English teacher at the high school. He was executive director at that point. And I got to know him and got promoted to technical director, and then he left. And in December 2016, I took over as ED. It was just a fluke message that got me there. And that kind of gets back to that purpose. Sometimes God puts things in our way that are necessary, and he puts those things there, even though they may seem silly or trivial or petty or difficult, and you don't want to get through them, and you don't want to go around them. You have to get through them, and mine was a simple Facebook message, and then things continue to change, and we are dealt COVID and have had to shut down since last March, and those things are put in your way because you're meant to face them. And when I spoke on purpose this last week at church, I saw somebody share on Facebook a while back and said, if you woke up today, you opened your eyes and you're breathing, it means you haven't fulfilled your purpose yet. It means God is not done with you. And I really try to live my life like that every day. I have time to give and blessings to give and love to give, and I'm still here. I need to do that. So before I become a mess, for some reason I talked shorter than I thought I was going to. I want to thank Jane, Eric, and your group that put all this together. This is phenomenal. I just trying to do my job and to be recognized for it, like you both said. I'm sure you'll echo too. Hopefully, unless I'm putting words in your mouth. Sorry. Just want to give back, and to be recognized in a small way or a large way. It's just nice to see people smile, and that's what I get to do. I get to be the curator of memories. I get to have people who laugh and cry and make memories in a building that I grew up in as well. So it's really, really wonderful. Special thanks to my parents. They're both here tonight. Very similar Ben. My parents taught me a lot. Very fortunate to have them. My grandparents aren't here. They taught me a lot. They've all passed away, but they were really pillars in my life too. Learned a lot from them, hard work, Shoot, I was gonna make it. I told myself. My brothers, my brother Lowe is here. I've got 3 brothers. I also learned how to defend myself because they grew up and got bigger. I was older and bigger, so I took advantage of that for a while. But now I have to defend myself every once in a while. They're the best. They're my best friends. And I'm just happy to have them too. And Julie mentioned it, but I don't know where I'd be, what I'd be doing if I didn't have my wife. the change that I've seen in her since we've had Melody. Sorry. I thought I knew who she was and how much I loved her. And I saw her hold my daughter for the first time. So, the best. Love you. Thank you, everybody. I'm an emotional wreck. I can't help it. I get that from my mom. She started crying when Julie got up here. Thanks, Mom. Quick side note about my mom. I knew when I did talent shows I couldn't look at her because she'd be crying by the time they announced my name. So I looked everywhere else. I tried to look like her this entire time because she's been crying the whole time. Worked out well. Thank you. To all of you. You all individually each mean so much to me. I'll see you very soon at the Fairmont Alcohol Show. Thank you.
Well, we had a little church there, didn't we? Thank you, Reverend Potoff. You're awesome, dude, and everybody honored tonight is awesome. You're one of the attendees, one of the friends, one of the people that are watching this. There should be no doubt in anybody's minds or hearts that these people being honored tonight are truly worthy of the 4 Under 40 award. I mean, they just don't do it because, hey, I'm going to get recognition. They do it because it's in their soul and their spirit to serve. And it's an honor to be in everybody's presence tonight. I hope you feel the same way. With that said, congratulations again, Blake. And we're going to bring up Christy Olson to the podium. She's a registered nurse, clinical documentation specialist at Mayo Clinic Health Systems. Still wet.
And now after Blake, I have to really lower it. Good evening, everybody. Like was said, I'm Christy Olson, and I'm here to introduce our final honoree of the evening, Laura Olson. We're not related, different spelling and everything. I'm reading this. Laura grew up in Iowa, but has lived in Martin County for several years after graduating high school in 2007. I didn't know you were that much younger than me. And here I thought, Laura is a mentor, but she's younger than me, so I don't know what you call somebody that's younger than you that's a mentor. She attended and graduated Western Iowa Technical Community College in Sioux City before moving back to the area. She and her husband, Chris, high school sweethearts, have 4 children, Addison, Parker, Claire, and Lexi, who range in age from 4 to 10. She is a physical therapist assistant at Mayo Clinic Health Systems here in Fairmont and is heavily involved in our community on a volunteer level. She also recently took a job as a special educational paraprofessional at the elementary school. Laura is a board chair for the Kids Just Want to Have Fun committee. Honored to call her a fellow member of that great committee, and is vice president of the Fairmont Elementary Early Childhood and Family Education Parent Advisory Board. Laura is also actively involved in coaching tennis and is the girls' head tennis coach and assistant coach for the boys team. You'll find her on the field more often than not. She also serves on the Mayo Clinic Health System Pediatric Therapy Committee, as well as the Employee Engagement and Employee Impact Committees. When asked what inspires her, Laura says, the strength and willingness of others to share their struggles and what they have learned from difficult experiences. I am humbled when I am able to relate to people on a more personal level, and it allows me to learn and grow in empathy, while also recognizing my own blessings that I may take for granted at times. Laura has a true heart for the youth and families of Martin County, and it is my honor to present her with this award. Please join me in celebrating my friend, my coworker, and also my fellow committee member. This is Laura Olson.
a little nervous. I don't know if I should be holding last things right now. Thank you, Christy. I can assure you all, they did not save the best for last. Like Lena, I'm not a public speaker. In fact, for the last year, because of COVID, I've spent more time talking to my children and more recently 21 first graders. So I have also so thanks again, Christy. I am excited to be here tonight and to have been recognized through this new initiative. I thought it was such a neat thing when Eric first told me about it. And I really look forward to watching it kind of continue and develop over the years. While I was trying to decide what to talk about tonight, my husband can attest that I've been stewing over this for months. We kind of started reminiscing about our childhood, and that was fun. We are high school sweethearts, but his family didn't move to Estherville until my 7th grade year. He's a little older than me. But we both grew up in small towns. We both also knew that that's what we wanted for our own family and down the road at that time. And so my parents and in-laws who are all here, they're all active in the Estherville community on professional as well as volunteer levels. And Chris and I knew that we wanted that for our family, and much of that is because they gave us lots of opportunities to participate in so many activities throughout the community, and just being able to watch them give back to the community, I think really inspired both of us, and we really look up to our parents. Even now as adults, it was about 10 years ago that we were trying to figure out where we were going to end up. At that time, we just had our oldest child. And again, we knew that we wanted to come back to a smaller community. A job opportunity for my husband opened up here in Fairmont. And as we started learning more about the area, we knew that it was going to be a great fit for us. It was close to home, the size of community that we desired. And it was really easy right away to recognize there were a lot of activities and opportunities available for children, but also that it would be easy for us as adults to get involved in the community. And when we moved here about 6 years ago, we had our third child was about 3 months old, and I was still on maternity leave, moving to a new area, didn't know anyone. But before we had moved here, we actually participated in online voting and thing that they had going on about activity and amenity ideas for the community that Project 1590 eventually took over. And so it was fun for us as we were learning about the community. It was fun for us to see what interested the community and the things that people in Fairmont and in Martin County wanted. And so that also provided an opportunity for me to get involved and to meet a few people. In fact, the week that we moved to town, I went to a community center planning committee meeting. Didn't know anyone, but it was a great opportunity for me to get involved right away. As groups changed, things changed with that. I found myself being contacted, I think it was by Steve, to try and form a group. Again, I didn't know very many people at that time, but try to form a group to start focusing on youth activities that we could implement immediately. And so that group began, I think it was probably about 4 or 5 years ago, as 2 moms who met at a park. And it's grown to about 8 people, a couple who are here, Christine, Ed, somewhere around here too. And so we've grown to a group of 8 people, and these people are they're extremely talented and dedicated and creative, and it's just been a lot of fun for me to work with them. And that can be said about a lot of the groups that Christy mentioned, those groups, those boards, the committees, the teams that I have the pleasure of working with. They've become friends. They've become just a real blessing to my life and to my family's life too. As a mother, as a pediatric physical therapist assistant, as a high school tennis coach, and most recently a special education paraprofessional, my passion really is in supporting our youth. So many of the volunteer efforts of the groups that I'm in are focused on complementing what our community already does well. I think we all know there's a lot of things we really do well already. And again, that's the reason why we ended up in Fairmont. But we also have a goal of expanding our community's potential. And by creating additional opportunities and resources for my own children, sometimes my motives are a little selfish. But really, truly, it's for the whole community and for people of all ages. And I'm grateful for the initiative of 4 Under 40 for bringing light to the younger generations and hopefully encouraging our youth to get involved in their communities, whether it be as they're growing up or down the road when they too find themselves in a more permanent location, raising a family. My love for and desire to serve on these boards and committees and teams that I do would not have been possible though without the support of my family. My mom, my dad, Angie, Jim, my husband are all here. And there's a lot of time I spend away from home. And also my kids. There's nights where my husband's putting 4 crazy kids to bed all on his lonesome. And I really appreciate that because I really do love being able to take part in these wonderful committees and teams. And so I also want to thank just the many people that our family's been blessed to come to know as we've become part of the community. The relationships and friendships that we've been able to create have been amazing. I think they've exceeded my expectations those 10 years ago when we were trying to decide where we wanted to end up. And so I'm honored to have been recognized as one of the first 4 Under 40 honorees, and I do so on behalf of those people who have held or who have led me and supported me throughout the last almost 6 years. So thank you.
Congratulations again to Laura, wrapping up our 4 Under 40. And for this hometown girl who moved back about a dozen years ago, I am so happy to see the next generation of people taking care of my hometown and bringing it forward and improving it even further. I have fantastic memories growing up in Fairmont, and that's why I came back. And to see it getting even better because of all the work you all are doing. Thank you so much for that, and congratulations to everybody. One of the other things I did growing up in Fairmont was I was a Girl Scout. I loved it. I still remember being a Girl Scout. I still remember going door to door selling Girl Scout cookies. That was my first sales job. It's still something very special to me, and I know the boys feel the same thing about the Boy Scouts. And coming up now is Jeff Lowe. He's going to talk about the scouting program. He is currently serving as the assistant scoutmaster with Troop 56 here in Fairmont. He recently agreed to serve as the neighborhood chair for the area, which includes 4 counties. Outside of scouting, Joe works for Filio La Sacra, and he and his wife Cheryl have 3 boys. Joe, come on up. I always end up with the really, really wet one.
Thanks, Kim. All right. Well, somebody asked me if I was being honored tonight, and I said no. And you can tell I'm not under 40 because I have to wear these. To see my remarks. So, I appreciate being invited to be a part of this evening. This event spawned out of our an idea about ways to recognize upcoming leaders, community, at the same time while garnering support for the Twin Valley Council and Boy Scouting in the area and the Boy Scouts of America. We appreciate this because it would not have been possible had it not been for the community leaders volunteering to serve on this committee, moving the idea forward. We met some of those committee members this evening, and we're grateful for them. Everyone's done a wonderful job highlighting, and it's been these recipients and these young leaders, these up-and-coming leaders here in Martin County. Grateful to learn a bit more about them and a bit about their background. It's been kind of exciting. Stimulated a lot of interesting thoughts for myself. You know, preparing the next generation of our leaders is vital to the success of not just our communities, but every community. We try to do that within the scouting program. That's certainly one of the aims, to teach, mentor, and prepare our future leaders. So on the inside cover of your program, you can read the Scout Oath and Scout Law. You can see in there some of the aims of scouting, talking about character development, leadership development, citizenship training, and personal fitness. Scout Law, Scout Oath says, on my honor, I will do my best to obey the Scout Law, to do my duty to God and my country, to help other people at all times, keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. And of course, the Scout Law is: a scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. You know, these are the qualities that we all strive to have in ourselves and that we want to see in the leaders of our community. And it is the attributes that we're honoring these people this evening. I want to tell you a little bit about my scouting story. You know, the Scout Oath and the Scout Law, I memorized those when I was a 10-year-old, coming into the Boy Scouting program. And I've reflected on them throughout my life. It's always been a little bit of a point of pride with me that even when I was not involved heavily in the scouting program, while as a university student going through my program, that I could still recite those and I could still think about those. And, you know, they became internal to me. I grew up in a scouting family. My father was an Eagle Scout, served for a number of years as Scoutmaster for myself and my brothers. I have 4 brothers who are also Eagle Scouts. Many other leaders, thinking of someone in my life, a 4 under 40 leader in my life, who I appreciate deeply, was a scout leader by the name of Calvin Payne. Calvin now lives in Washington State, but Calvin was, for a bunch of 14-year-old scouts, he was a man's man, so to speak. Calvin was the one that opened his farm shop up to us, took the old plowshares, taught us how to cut, even let us use his torch. Can you believe that? But taught us how to cut plowshares into, of all things, throwing knives and tomahawks. Taught us how to make black powder rifles. And so you couldn't just go buy a black powder rifle. That wasn't part of Calvin's plan. Calvin wanted you to buy the kit. And then you'd take the kit and you'd learn the woodworking skills necessary to refine the wood, and polish and finish that wood. And to create a black powder rifle that not only was fun to shoot in a safe manner, and we learned how to do that. And shooting a black powder rifle safely is a little bit different than shooting just a normal rifle safely. There's a few more steps involved. We learned how to respect one another and how to help one another. We learned how to try. And what do I mean by that? I'll give you an example. Building my rifle, I got to the point where it wasn't, I'm you know, a 14-year-old young man with limited skills and abilities and doing the best that I can. And I don't think that the gun is meeting the vision that I have in my mind. And Calvin doesn't let me just quit on it because it doesn't meet my vision. He helps me and encourages me. He does not do it for me. And I finish that, and he shows me how to finish the wood and how to plumb brown the metal, which is the older methods of rust proofing metal, the steel on that gun. And it was fantastic. It turned out better than I could have imagined, not only because of his guidance, but because of his encouragement to try and to do your best. I still have that gun today, and enjoy taking it out and showing it to my sons and talking about it and talking about what I've learned there. That's a little bit about my scouting background and about the leaders who helped me. Our local scouting program, as we look at the bigger picture, we've tried to accomplish a number of things in the last year here within Martin County and within the Twin Valley Council. It's been a challenge. The pandemic has not made life easy for anyone. You know, I see Joe Brown sitting back there, and I think he would be the first to attest his life has not been easier by any stretch of the imagination. We appreciate his leadership in the community helping with our children as well. We've worked hard within the Twin Valley Council. It's changed the way we've interacted with each other, the activities we've participated in, and we greet one another. No, we don't do hugs and handshakes too much anymore. A lot of fist bumps, friendly waves and elbow bumps are now the common way to greet one another. We've tried really hard within this environment to continue to provide quality leadership programming for our young people. 2020, we continued to affect the lives of youth throughout 15 counties in the Twin Valley Council, including Martin County. We moved some of our events online. In doing so, Scouts were still able to earn over 846 merit badges, learning remotely and being coached remotely, teaching them new scouting skills and inspiring future hobbies and interests. 161 of those were right here in Martin County. We conducted events like our online spring camporee. And the camporee is usually where the Scouts get together as a larger group. All of the troops come together at one of the campgrounds within the council. And to do this online, they had to camp remotely on their own or with their family. And then they would log in. And we allowed everyone to remotely log in through the web, and we're grateful for that blessing in our lives where we can do that and not be so isolated. And they learned together how to do scouting skills, and then they would go practice them on their own. So for young 10, 11, and 12-year-old Scouts, they're learning things like tying knots, holding the flag, administering first aid. They'd get to go on their own hike, right to someone in a nursing home, just to name a few. Ways to reach out amongst them, away from themselves, to develop their new skills and interests, to reach out to the community at large, even in the midst of being isolated. We took our annual Scouting for Food campaign virtual as well. Stay-at-home orders actually began the very weekend we were supposed to go door to door and put out the notices that it was a Scouting for Food campaign, and we were going to start collecting food for the local community food shelves. Instead, we created an online platform for people to donate funds, and those funds went directly to the food shelf of their choice to purchase food and to help support people in need during this past year. We raised enough money to purchase over 78,000 pounds of food for local food shelves. COVID prevented us from being able to run our traditional summer camp, the week-long summer camp up north of Brainerd at Cayuna Scout Camp. Instead, we ran what we called the Daytime Summer Adventures, which were camps at Northland Scout Camp, a little bit north of St. Peter, and Camp Cedar Point, just here south of town. And we had over 150 youth take part in that, earned over 400 merit badges. Great opportunity for them to work together on a daily basis. We're trying to minimize the risk and to do our part as responsible community members to slow the spread. So scouting didn't even stop or slow down. We had to adapt like everyone else did. We do see our units starting to meet in person once again. And we, like everyone else, are hoping that things get better quickly. Cedar Point Scout Camp. A number of you, who's familiar with Cedar Point Scout Camp? Show I can. There's a number of you here in the community. For those of you that don't know, it's a scout camp that was donated years and years ago to the Twin Valley Council, located 10 miles south of Fairmont. There's about 1,500 youth and adults that come to Cedar Point every year to learn about the outdoors. If you want to know where it is, just head south on Albion Avenue and keep going south past the golf course. When you run into Iowa, you've gone too far. Come back about a half a mile and there's Cedar Point right there on the bend in the road. Is Albion curves back around to tie into Highway 15. It's an integral part of our programming here. It's a beautiful facility. We're grateful to have it. We're grateful for the support in this community because there's been a number of you that have helped support that with time, money, and energy to help keep that camp going. With these beautiful facilities and with those that have donated their time and attention to help the youth, we can't do it just on those alone. To support our children and our youth, the future of Martin County. So as you came in, each of you were handed a booklet. And within that booklet, there was a couple of pieces of literature. The first one is the two or three pieces of stuff here in the envelope. The investment in character, the pledge form, and the envelope to put that in. You don't, if you'd like to pledge tonight and have the council invoice you for that pledge, you're more than welcome to do that, rather than if you want to write a check and donate directly tonight, you can do that as well. But then there's also an opportunity to fill out this form if you'd like to be more involved in scouting and youth development and the fun things that we get to do there as the leaders of these youth. And we'd sure love to have anyone that would like to be involved in that. I'll just tell you, there's not many more things in life that are more rewarding than being involved in. So this card and the pledge form gives you the opportunity to be to help donate funds to help support scouting in our area. We'd like you to consider a financial investment and help our youth and to help us with the skill and hobby and interest and character development for the youth in our community. So if you would you please take a moment and join me in making an investment? One of the things, I hope that Paul and Steve will forgive me for this liberty, but I think they would be okay. From what I understand, anyone who makes a donation of at least $100,000 this evening will get the free use of a Copo Camaro for a year or a GT 500 Shelby Mustang. But Steve and Paul both said, well, in addition to that, you've got to donate more than we do, and we're not telling you how much we're donating. So good luck on collecting on this. But no, we appreciate everyone's support here. And I kept looking around thinking this was going to be like a golf tournament. There'd be a couple of cars on pedestals in the back. That wasn't the case. That's about it for me. This evening, the person that follows me is a young man that I've gotten to know as I transitioned into Troop 56 with my youngest son, Levi. And that's Jacob Luth. Jacob's an Eagle Scout and a fine young man. Before I go to that, I got one more point I need to make, and in all seriousness. The Otto Bremer Trust has agreed to match dollar for dollar money raised tonight. So if you do make a pledge, and we would encourage you to do so, know that will be matched, and that will be able to make those dollars go forward. So we appreciate that. So Jacob's coming up here in a few minutes. I get to introduce him. Jacob's an Eagle Scout from right here in Martin County, earned his rank Eagle in 2020. And my son Levi and I were privileged to help him with his Eagle Scout project, and he'll tell you a little bit about that. Now, Eric wrote some of these remarks for me, and he said that Jacob is now at South Dakota State University. And I know what he meant to say, but those of you that know Jacob will appreciate this. He said that Jacob was majoring in conversation planning and park management. And I know that they meant conservation, but Jacob is one of these individuals that a stranger is just a friend he hasn't met yet. And if you've ever seen him in the drive-thru at McDonald's, you know that. And so would you please appreciate your support of Scouting and our recognition of these four wonderful leaders this evening. And if you wouldn't mind, would you please help me welcome Jacob to come up and share a few of you.
Well, I hope I don't make the mic too dirty now. I'll have to give it another minute after this. And again, thank you, Joe. Before I start though, I just want to thank the committee behind 440 for having me here tonight. And it's wonderful being back, being at college all the time. It's yeah, all that homework and everything, you know, kind of makes it just like, oh, I got so much to do. Even working on the speech this week is a little bit of hard work, but I got it through and I was determined, and here I am now. My bad. Let's do it like this. There we go. A little bit easier. So to just start about talking about scouting a little bit, scouting has made a huge impact on my life. I participated in scouting for more than 10 years now, and as Joe was saying, I have recently done my Eagle Scout project. Now, when I was deciding to do my project, it wasn't as easy as I thought it'd be. Originally, my father, Mitch Lowe back there, and I were looking around the community and weren't having a lot of luck. So, you know, for weeks we were looking for something, and then we had finally found something with the Rutland Township. Plans were going well, and we almost had the funds ready to start building. But after we found out that we needed a building permit to finally get this project underway, and sadly, we could not work on that then. So, a little disappointed, we started searching again, and still determined, we kept on going, and then we discovered that the Martin County Humane Society was in need of a little bit of help too. So we thought, hopefully we can get this and do something good for the Martin County Humane Society. So after talking with Robin, one of the leaders there, it is a little bit hard to speak. Even after 3 different speech classes, a speech merit badge completed, and even some stuff in college, it still gets you sometimes. But the Humane Society was looking to do a little bit of expanding, and we thought, hey, what if we were to make some dog shelters for you? So later that month, my dad and I started working on making 3D models of a dog house that could not be big enough and be all kinds of fun for the dogs there. So we presented our ideas, and Robin approved it, and we started working on the project. So months and months afterwards, we were working, you know, practically every night on this, you know, trying to perfect it in every little way. And yes, it took a lot of hard work, but you know what? In the end, these dog houses were fabulous. They were based off the Girl Scouts dog houses, in fact. And, probably one of the greatest things I got to build in Boy Scouts.
But it wasn't until after I was done building these dog houses that I realized how much of a help I was actually doing for the community. Originally, I was just thinking, you know, oh, this would be fun to do, and it would be a good Eagle Scout project. But once I was done, I saw, well, not only did the dogs like them, but a lot of people started reaching out to me and telling me how good the project was. And Robin herself loved to see that, you know, all the pets that were there were happy, and people would walk in and be like, hey, who made those? And I realized that it was a small thing that made a really big difference. That I'm quite proud of this evening. And I even saw this back in my troop too. It was great to have boys come over and work on making them. And just need to take a little breather, that's all. Beyond my Eagle Scout project, though, there was even more scouts had been doing for the community. You would see boys working together on the Scout-led pancake breakfast at Grace Lutheran Church every year. Or what about the 1 year when our troop got the opportunity to do a service project for the community, where we helped clean out trash out of George Lake. I even remember some boys finding a whole couch and having to pull that out. I can't even imagine how much work that must have been. Even things like scouting for food, where boys were going out and collecting food for the food shelves. And all these things, they might have just seemed like something fun or, you know, maybe a little bit of help, but now that I look back at those things, I realize that, wow, I was doing quite a lot this whole time, and I never even realized it. And I have to give that up to all the support that we've gotten from the community. But if I had a chance to do this all over again, if I could go back in time and get the opportunity to, you know, serve someone pancakes and bacon at the breakfast, or going out and making the doghouse again, I would do it, because I would go back and see, wow, this is really going to impact someone. This is really a great thing that I'm going to look back for years. And even now, what I think, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I'm just very proud of what Scouts has done for me and the boys that have been with me all this way. And if there's one thing anyone should know about Scouts, it's that you should be prepared if you join, or not join, or see someone. You should be prepared to see some great, amazing see some great, amazing boys and girls out there doing some wonderful things for their neighbors, because You get off stage and some water. But I guess you all see what I'm trying to say. And even though I might not be the best at speaking still, I'm still try to be, even with a full, complete speech. My final words is that Scouts has really been one of the most impactful things on my life for a while.
Thank you very much, Jacob. Well, I think we're just about ready to wrap things up. And I would use that other mic, but I think somebody turned the volume up on it. So we'll, being the technical experts that we are, we'll just stay with one microphone. And so some thanks need to be thanked. People need to be thanked.
I need to thank Jacob for the dog houses. Dogs are big time to me, and I love the Humane Society. Thank you for making the dog houses. That makes me very, very happy. So thank you, Jacob. But thanks again to all the sponsors, volunteers, the staff that all made this possible, and of course, all the honorees for being here, all the families, everybody that's been in attendance tonight.
Absolutely, and thanks again to the folks at Fairmont Ford for being our drink sponsor. We appreciate that very much. Give Fairmont Ford a round of applause. And all the other sponsors that make this event possible tonight.
That's right, and in thanking the committee for their time, Eric Sauer, Paul Kleckner, and Keith Boyd, thank you for that.
And yeah, absolutely. John Hill with photography and zipping around here, snapping some pictures, and she is going to be available up front to take additional photos with the honorees. And we have asked the honorees and their spouses, significant others, babies, family members, everybody to go ahead and as we come to a close, go get your picture taken. And the photos will be available on the Twin Valley Council Facebook page in the coming few days. Be sure to check out their Facebook page for these photos. Now I become a human mic stand.
A reminder, you can also drop off your investment and character information at the check-in table on your way out, and nominations are open already for next year's class. Information available on the back of the program and how to nominate someone online who is eligible. And I'm sure if you're hearing all the speeches tonight, you've got some ideas, don't you?
Yeah, I'm thinking about the 6 over 60. I'll volunteer to be the
You would.
Yeah, I would, right. Anyway, the 2022 event is if we hadn't got into 2021 enough. The next year's events could be taking place on February 24th. So put that down on your calendar and be sure to come out. And I'm sure it's going to be awesome as well. Another great night, and we appreciate everybody coming out tonight and spending some time with these great, if somebody called them youngsters, I'm not sure if that's absolutely true. They are young.
They're younger than us, right?
Well, yeah, that's. And congratulations, thanks for doing the jobs that you're doing. You guys are awesome, and keep up the good work, and let's get another class of honorees started right now.
That's right. And Eric, thank you so much for inviting us to be here. We appreciate it. Did we talk about that? Yes, we did. Have a good evening. Drive home safe. This is the end. All right. Goodbye.
Give me your round of applause.